I guess an update took place last night. My settings look off. But I think I like it. Anywho, I'm here to share something that I missed last week. We all know that Fani Willis got into the hot seat last week at the hearing. MAGA nuts. The hearing. It wasn't a trial, and she's not going to jail when this is over. Hopefully, your orange god will be the one going to jail. Anywho, we all know that Fani Willis took the chair at the hearing to tell her side of the story last week, and she had the white folks scrambling in the courtroom. So much so that the next day, those folks was like, yeah, we don't have any more questions for Miss Willis. And I don't care if it was the state that said it, right? I don't care if it was the state that said it. Period. The white folks didn't want any more of Queen Fani Willis. Anywho, so we were listening to a whole lot of commentary regarding the situation because Fani Willis shook news media with her testimony. And I don't know how I missed this, but I missed this. And you know, it took place on Morning Joe. This is commentary that took place on Morning Joe. I'm guessing I was doing something else. My mind was focused on something else. I don't know, but I missed this. And on the weekend, there is a weekend Morning Joe where they play a lot of the commentary and the news stories that took place in the week. And check this out.
No. This is the truth. And it is a lie. It is a lie.
DA Willis holding up 3 pleadings filed by the defense there. Last month, Trump co-defendant Michael Roman, a longtime Republican opposition researcher who worked in the Trump administration, accused Willis and Wade of having an improper personal relationship and claimed Wade was hired for the job because of it. Willis did admit to the relationships, but she said it started after Wade was hired. Trump and several other co-defendants joined Roman's motion to try to remove Willis. When Roman's attorney, Ashley Merchant, accused Willis of not wanting to turn over records, Willis reminded her that she is not the one charged with a crime.
I object to you getting records. You've been intrusive into people's personal lives. You're confused. You think I'm on trial. These people are on trial for trying to steal an election in 2020. I'm not on trial, no matter how hard you try to put me on trial.
Earlier, Mr. Wade took the stand and testified to the timeline of his relationship with Willis and how the pair split the costs of trips and their dates, with Willis, he said, paying in cash. She confirmed that later. Before that, a former friend of DA Willis, who also worked inside the DA's office, her name's Robin Yurti, testified that Willis and Wade began dating in 2019. Disputing the timeline the couple had given. When pressed, it was revealed that Yurti had a falling out with Willis after she was forced out of the DA's office in 2022. Okay, with all that said, let's bring in former U.S. Attorney and MSNBC legal analyst Joyce Vance, former Assistant U.S. Attorney for the District of Columbia, Glenn Kirshner. He's an MSNBC legal analyst and former litigator and MSNBC legal correspondent, Lisa Rubin. Okay, let's begin left to right. How about that? We've got so many great legal minds here. Joyce, I'll start with you. The conventional wisdom seemed to be, after Mr. Wade's testimony,
I did not know that the former employee that took the stand was basically told she was going to be fired or she could resign. This is what you call a disgruntled employee. Yeah. Her commentary, her testimony, whatever it is that she had to say, yeah, it's trash. It's trash. But to my surprise, the white folks went on to say this.
Thing that when you're presenting evidence you don't want to have happen, but it turns out that this witness resigned in lieu of being fired from the district attorney's office. That threw her testimony about the timeline of the relationship into doubt. Ultimately, at the end of the day yesterday, it was just a big nothing burger, Willie. There was nothing that showed that Fani Willis and Nathan Wade had the sort of financial conflict of interest that Georgia law recognizes, something akin to a prosecutor who only gets paid if they win a case. That's the classic case at Georgia law where there's a conflict that results in disqualification. That just wasn't there yesterday in the courtroom.
So, Glenn, Joyce is right. We got deep in the weeds about how much cash did you pay for this dinner a couple of years ago. And D.A. Willis was saying, I don't remember. I don't keep receipts. She said she keeps large amounts of cash at homes and often pays her way in cash, splitting the bill with Mr. Wade on these dates. So you kind of got mired in all these details. But to pull way back, what did you see yesterday? What were the stakes? And did you see anything that would get rid of this case, that would push it down to someone else who may not take it up?
You know, Willie, as is always the case, I agree with Joyce. This is going nowhere. It will very soon be yesterday's news because there is no conflict, financial or otherwise. There's nothing that I saw in the testimony thus far recognizing additional witnesses will testify today, and the hearing is expected to go into next week. But I've seen nothing that has inured to the detriment of any defendant in the case. So I don't think the defense will be able to carry the burden. What I do think is what we saw yesterday is a tribute to the value of cameras in the courtroom, because as you watch D.A. Willis testify, I would be hard-pressed to believe that anything she said was a misrepresentation, was inaccurate, or was untruthful. She was angry, and she had every right to be angry. She was holding up public court filings that she contended contained all sorts of lies. And once they go out into the public square, people are going to believe those lies. She was hot, but she had every right to be hot. She remained respectful but forceful, and I don't think this hearing will win the defense any relief whatsoever.
It's so interesting because you could definitely get from her testimony, Lisa, that she was angry for a number of reasons, and many of them she didn't bring up. She obviously doesn't like being lied about. She obviously doesn't like having her personal life dragged out into the open and also lied about. She mentioned several times in her testimony that she's had to move a lot because of death threats, even before the election trial began, because of other trials that she's presided over. I mean, this has been a tough job for her. And then to hear, this sideshow happen to try and delay the election interference case, this is her point of view, she was just, absolutely PO'd and got up on the stand because she was like, damn it, I'm just going to have to tell my own story to these.
That's right. She's going to have to get up there and tell her own story to these people. But the white men were like, she was PO'd and had every right to be pissed off. She wasn't disrespectful. She was forceful. She wasn't arrogant. She was confident. They didn't say that. I'm saying that because a lot of people are out there saying she's arrogant. No, she's not arrogant. She's confident. She knows her ish, and she knows all of this is a circus. Now, the white lady in the screen with Mika would later go on and say, if I was her attorney, I would have advised her not to be so angry. We know white women. It frightens you. It makes you uncomfortable to see a black woman express anger. But you get to do it all day long, and you don't have a problem with other white women expressing their anger. Well, guess what? We don't care anymore. You piss us off, we just might show you and tell you that we're pissed off.